races, and I think all these three teams here have gone under 3:17, so it's going to be quite an interesting race. But obviously, I'm hoping that the Aussies get up here.
Australia on the inside, then it's France, then it's Korea.
Australia are getting back into position. It's Nicholson, Arkley, Cameron and Colman for them. France have got Casoli, Lemeunier, Fairbank and Brignone. And Korea have got Hong Sukman, Yu Byunghoon, Jung Dongho and Kim Gudai, who won the 800.
Interesting fact, sorry, Richard Nicholson, biggest biceps in the Paralympics there. He's got some guns on him, that guy. They're bloody big.
So how many of these guys do you know well? Nicholson, Arkley, Cameron and Colman?
Yeah, I've been on a team with all the boys for a while now. Obviously Rich, he used to be a powerlifter, as you can tell by the arms. Nath has been around for a while too, and is a great athlete. Matty Cameron, I think he started in Beijing, the same as me, and Rich Colman, obviously a gold medalist from London, and I think he's got a few medals here.
Okay, so everyone in white. The Australians are white with a little bit of green, the French are in white with a little bit of red and blue, and the Koreans are in white with a little bit of more white.
So we're going for the green.
So it's going to be tricky doing it into the sun. So it's Nicholson for Australia, Casoli for France, Hong for Korea. 4x100. 4 fastest times go through. So all three of these could go through if they make it a quick semi. Just hauling the Korean a little bit back to make sure he's behind the line. Casoli just reversing a little bit as well. Nicholson is set.
Just cruise, Nate. Let's get it through. Because it's 4 wheels, so he's not coming.
Australia on the inside, then it's France, then it's Korea, and with the Americans setting such a poor time in the last race, basically the first two from this race, as long as they're in decent time, will go through, and possibly all three of these if they can work together and make it a decent time. So the French going very well in lane 5, the Koreans with Hong on this first leg going well, and at the moment Nicholson of Australia just hanging a little bit back. It's a good first leg for Casoli, who's an awesome wheelchair racer. He's had a brilliant game, and Casoli at this point will now take Hong of Korea. So Casoli bringing it home for France on this first of the 4x400. Koreans coming in second, and the Aussies at the moment just hanging back with Nicholson. As they come up, let's just see how the changeovers go. France handover now, Korea handover now, Australia now, as they come into the second leg. So it's Arkley for Australia, Lemeunier for France, and Yu for Korea. But the French in the lead at the moment, then it's the Koreans, then it's the Australians. And now this is a good second leg for Arkley of Australia. Arkley's flying, he's catching up with Lemeunier. Arkley catching up with Lemeunier, the Koreans with Yu on the outside. We'll get a word from Brad in a minute as they just come into line now. Now it's a straight race. It's the French, then the Australians, and then the Koreans. How's it going, Brad?
Yeah, obviously that Stagger plays a big part. That first lap is quite hard to pick who's in the lead, but obviously Nathan Arkley here has really done a really great leg, and we want a good change here, and I think it's going to be a very interesting finish. Like you said, if these three teams can work together here, they could all possibly get through. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting race.
Good handovers for everyone. Now we've got Cameron of Australia goes into the lead, Fairbank for France, and then it's Jung of Korea. So Australia from France, from Korea. What's he like, this guy Cameron, on the third leg?
Mate, I'm not sure. I haven't really seen his 400 experience, but I know he's a great bloke and brings a lot of energy to the team, and I'm sure he's going to do everything he can right now for the team. And they'll be hurting a bit right now, I think, coming into this headwind, and this is going to be the difference this last bit here.
It's Cameron for Australia, leading home Fairbank of France, and a bit behind it's Korea with Jung. It's this all-important third change. Cameron hands over to Colman, who's the strongest member of this Australian team. Fairbank hands over to Brignone, and Jung hands over to Kim, who's the strongest of the Koreans. They've all got their strongest man on this last lap. The Korean changeover was shocking, but Richard Colman leading Australia down the back straight. He's got Brignone of France behind him, but he's way behind him, and Richard Colman absolutely storming down this back straight. Richard Colman for Australia, and it's Brignone of France, and look at Kim absolutely flying for Korea. He's got this man in his sights. The Korean is absolutely bombing past the Frenchman. He's going at twice the speed of him. It's Kim's an extraordinary athlete, but he's stormed up to get Korea back into this. But Australia with a brilliant race from all four of their competitors. Richard Colman brings it home. Australia 3:16.40, and what a last leg from Kim. And Brignone of France comes in, and I don't think he'll be quick enough. So it looks to me as though Australia and Korea are qualified.
Yeah, and it looks to me as if the first two from the first semi-final are safe as well, and that will be Canada and Thailand. Unofficial, of course, because we're only calculating it ahead, but Australia won 3:16.42, Korea 3:20.18, and they have qualified along with Australia. France have not, which means the USA are also out, and Canada and Thailand are also in the final.
Good performance from your boys, Brad.
That was great to watch. Going through with the quickest time, and as you can see here, Colman's just a bit relaxed and not really going too hard, and I think that final is going to be very, very interesting, because as you've seen then, the athlete from Korea come home flying, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
What do you do in the semi-final if you're in the lead and you know the final's going? There's someone else. Would you try and win the race always? Just like we see McFadden always wins the race, even though she doesn't need to, whereas other people save their energy for the final. What's your approach?
Well, as you guys would have seen, in my 400, I actually won the heat and I went through with the fastest time, and for me it was more about lane draw. I ran the first 200 hard, but then I relaxed after that. So it depends on the athlete really. Some don't mind the lane, but for me it really goes down to the lane draw.
So confirmation that Australia and Korea